Welcome to the deep dive. Today, our source material is a full season review of data-driven golf content from Golf247.eu for 2025.
A really comprehensive look.
It really is. And our mission is simple. We're going to pull out the most actionable tech-backed insights for you. We're focusing on that link between biomechanics, the actual physics, and what the pros are really doing.
And that's the key takeaway from 2025, isn't it? Golf stopped being a game of just feel. It's now understood as a complete measurable system.
A system,
And
right?
we're looking at everything from swing dynamics, the microphysics of putting to equipment breakthroughs. This was the year where facts really started to push guesswork aside.
Okay, let's unpack all that. And we have to start with the engine, right? The full swing.
The engine room.
Exactly. The data makes it so clear that elite performance isn't just about effort. It's about superior, repeatable, physical geometry.
That's it. And the core idea that came out of all the 3D motion capture was this framework they call SPACE. Yeah, it stands for speed, power, accuracy, consistency, and efficiency. And you can only really achieve those 5 things if you create physical space between your upper and lower body.
Physical space in the transition.
In the transition and the early downswing, yeah. That space is what lets the club drop in on the right path without you having to manipulate it with your hands.
That's a great concept, but how do they actually do that? I mean, the source material pointed to a specific move that feels almost counterintuitive.
It does. They do this subtle squat-like movement. So instead of just spinning the hips toward the target right from the top,
Which is what every amateur does.
that's what we all try to do, right? But the pros, they shift their lower body slightly downward and backward first.
So it's not a spin, it's a load.
It's a critical load move. It drives the lower body underneath the torso and stores all that elastic energy in the glutes and hamstrings.
Okay, so this isn't just dropping down for the sake of it. What's the geometric result of that move?
Well, that downward and backward shift creates the room. It gives your arms the space to just drop naturally down the swing plane. It shallows the club path automatically.
It's automatic. You don't have to think about it.
If you load the ground correctly, the club is already set up for success.
And that's the complete opposite of what you see on a Saturday morning, right? That immediate aggressive hip spin that just pulls the upper body behind,
Almost club.
trapped it deep behind you, and then you're forced into those awful last-second compensations, the flips, the blocks, the hooks. Without that space, your hands have to save the swing.
And to really understand the power in that move, we need to look at what they call pelvis sway. The report calls it the engine room.
The engine room, I like that.
It's a measured lateral movement. So in the backswing, there's a controlled shift away from the target, loading into that trail leg. But then crucially, in the downswing, there's a really decisive shift toward the target.
Hold on a second. For years, sway was like a dirty word in golf. It meant you were doing something horribly wrong.
A massive fault, yeah.
So why is the data now telling us that a controlled, measured sway is actually a good thing? And we have to talk about ground reaction forces here. For anyone listening, what is GRF?
That's a great question. The difference is all about control and sequencing. What used to be called sway was just, a lateral slip with no rotation.
Right.
Now we know that controlled sway is essential because it's how you convert those ground reaction forces, the pressure you put into the ground, into rotational speed. You have to shift to your lead side to be able to push off that lead leg explosively.
So you're using the ground.
You're using the ground. And this move is critical for 3 reasons. 1, it turns GRF into power. 2, it creates that vital X factor stretch, the separation between your hips and your shoulders. And 3, and this is huge, it helps prevent injury.
How so?
By getting the pelvis to work correctly, your lower back doesn't have to compensate. It protects you. It's the difference between a powerful, stable kinetic chain and, an inefficient, stressful movement.
The engine room has to fire correctly. If it doesn't, you're asking your lower back to solve a problem it was never meant to solve.
Never.
Okay, let's pivot. Let's go from the macro of the full swing to the micromechanics of putting. The source material really hammers home that putting is measurable, precise, and trainable.
It's entirely measurable. The data shows us there are 4 phases of the ball's motion right after you hit it. Launch, skid, transition, and true roll.
And the goal is true roll as fast as possible.
As fast as possible. For the elite players, you want to get that pure end-over-end rotation going within about 6 to 8 inches of the putter face.
That moment of contact is everything then. And the key variable is launch angle. The source defines this incredibly tight window, 0.75 to 2.5 degrees.
It's tiny.
Why is that window so critical? Why is anything outside of it a problem?
It all comes down to the physics of how the ball interacts with the grass.
So let's look at the low end, below 0.75 degrees.
That means you're either hitting down on it or you're trapping the ball in what's called the nest, that little depression it sits in. If it's trapped, you get more friction, the ball can snag. It's like trying to push it through sand right at the start.
And on the high end, above 2.5 degrees.
Then you're getting too much loft. You're actually launching the ball slightly into the air. It bounces. And that bounce delays stability. It delays true roll. You want the ball to get off the turf cleanly and start rolling immediately.
That stability seems to be the name of the game. And this is where the tech comes in, right? It sees things the naked eye just can't.
Exactly. Systems like Quintic ball roll, they can diagnose things like inconsistent shaft lean, which changes your loft. It can spot backspin or negative RPM, which makes the ball skid for longer.
Wow.
And crucially, it compares launch angle to flight angle. If there's a big difference, it tells you the ball is snagging on the grass, even if the putt ended up looking okay.
That's fascinating. But putting isn't all mechanics. It's also strategy, it's neurology. The reports talked a lot about structured green reading. And step one is always finding the fall line.
The fall line is the foundation. It's the steepest path straight down from the hole. Once you know that, you know which way every putt is going to break.
So you find the fall line, then what?
Then you estimate your aim point, and after that, you adjust your distance point. That's the spot you want the ball to roll past if it misses.
And that changes depending on the slope.
It has to. Uphill, you want the distance point farther past the hole because you need more energy to hold the line. Downhill, it's shorter. Slower putts break more, they spend more time on the slope.
We saw that great example of a player dealing with a visual bias. He had something called mild esophoria.
Esophoria, yeah. It's a visual imbalance where your eyes tend to converge inward a little bit. It creates an optical illusion.
And for him, it made him miss short on uphill putts.
Exactly. His brain was telling him the hole was closer than it actually was. So he would unconsciously decelerate, thinking he didn't need to hit it as hard.
So it wasn't a mechanical flaw, it was a neurological miscalculation?
Totally. And the fix was simple. He just had to mentally picture the hole 30 to 50 centimeters farther away. Suddenly his rhythm was back. He was delivering the right amount of energy.
Which is a perfect segue into the tour-level mindset. The thing separating the pros from the rest of us isn't just talent, it's this extreme intentionality.
The precision. The foundation is set up precision. For the pros, alignment, grip, ball position. These are non-negotiable constants. They're always checking them with training aids.
The report used a great analogy, a commercial pilot's pre-flight checklist versus a casual driver just hopping in the car.
That's it exactly. That initial precision prevents so many errors later on.
And their strategy on the course reflects that same discipline. They aren't just aiming at the flag.
No, never. They're aiming at statistically defined target corridors. They build in a margin for error. They're like snipers.
Yeah.
Factoring in wind, temperature, elevation.
Yeah.
All before they even pull the trigger. They're calculating, not just aiming.
And for the short game, getting that high spin, checking shot,
Yeah.
it's also purely technical, right?
Very specific. You need to deliver high loft, 56 to 60 degrees, with neutral hands. You can't de-loft the club by pushing your hands way forward.
The key phrase in the source material was a shallow angle of attack, brushing the turf. What's the real difference between that and the steep digging motion we see so often?
It's the difference between maximum friction and, well, compromised contact. A shallow sweeping motion maximizes the time the ball is on the club face. It lets the grooves do their job.
So more groove engagement equals more spin.
A steep attack just drives the leading edge into the turf. You lose loft, you get inconsistencies. It kills your ability to control the ball.
Okay, so if the body's delivery is perfect and the strike is perfect, the next piece is the ball itself. And this is where things get really interesting. The Pro V1 revolution.
A total game changer.
The goal was to combine distance low spin with the driver and control high spin with the wedges, which at the time was considered impossible.
It was. But the early prototypes had a major flaw. The soft urethane cover would absorb moisture from the air.
So the ball would get wet inside.
That moisture would eventually get into the solid core, and that made the ball feel dead. It would lose performance, sometimes in the middle of a round. The core, the engine, was getting corrupted.
So how did they solve that? The report mentions the veneer project.
The breakthrough. The engineers added an ultra-thin internal barrier, the veneer, right between the core and the mantle layers. It was basically a sealant.
A moisture barrier.
Exactly. It protected the core's integrity, and that was the key.
Yeah.
Now the Pro V1 could reliably give you that high launch, low spin off the tee, while the soft cover still gave you all the feel and spin you needed around the greens. It set the standard for everything that came after.
So let's wrap up by looking at how the actual game, the competitive side, evolved in late 2025.
We saw some incredible performances. Jaden Shaper got 2 back-to-back playoff wins on the DP World Tour. The second one, sealed with an eagle, just clutch.
And what about that PNC Championship trip record?
Oh, Matt and Cameron Kuchar, just ridiculous. 33 under par. They just dominated.
And the new formats seem to be really finding their feet. The Grant Thornton Invitational showed that mixed-gender competition is not only viable, it's compelling.
Absolutely. And rotating the formats, scramble, foursomes, four-ball, it keeps it fresh, it tests different skills.
We have to talk about TGL's second season. That hybrid screen-to-green format is really something else.
It is. You're hitting long shots into this massive virtual screen, playing these amazing courses, and then you just transition seamlessly to a physical short game area for chipping and putting, live.
It's totally modernizing how you watch golf. Team-based, players are mic'd up, there's a shot clock.
And live data overlays. You see the club speed, the launch angle right there on the screen. It's much closer to an arena sport. It's fast. It's digestible for a whole new audience.
So if we tie all of this back together, the main takeaway from 2025 is what?
It's undeniable. Golf performance is moving relentlessly away from guesswork and feel. It's heading toward precise, measurable data in every single part of the game. From the way you sequence your swing with pelvis sway to optimizing that tiny launch angle window on the putting green.
So for you, the listener, what does this all mean? It means the pursuit of consistency, of getting better, demands that we stop guessing. We have to start measuring.
Yeah.
The pros rely on that disciplined setup, that stable rhythm, that data-driven strategy. That's the path.
Intentional precision.
Intentional precision. Now, here's a final thought for you to take to the course in 2026. The big breakthrough for the Pro V1 ball came from solving a hidden weakness, that moisture absorption, by adding an ultra-thin internal barrier. So for your own game, what's the unseen internal barrier? Is it mental, mechanical, physical that you need to build to protect your consistency when the pressure is on? Something to think about. Thanks for diving in with us.